week's episode of Attack on Titan Junior High, Eren and his underclassmen friends are going to have to endure another test. A test of courage. This episode should have aired at the end of October. This was basically the Attack on Titan Junior High Halloween special. It was really fun, really stupid, and honestly, my favorite episode of the entire series thus far. Probably for all of the expressions of the characters and just all the ridiculous, kooky, ghostly moments. So let's just talk about the highlights. This episode right here is all about the upperclassmen messing with the underclassmen yet again, and this time they're going to have to go through this rite of passage, which is known as the Test of Courage, where they're going to have to come back to school after hours, and they're going to have to go to all these various classrooms, go to a chalkboard, and write their name. The problem is, the school's been haunted! Blah, 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 blah. And thus begins the hilarity of this week's episode. All the underclassmen are broken up into two teams, and we get to see them going around to all of these different locations and getting freaked the hell out. Now, already the episode is funny just because you got these chibi-looking versions of the Attack on Titan characters. Armin in particular is absolutely hilarious because he's already a coward, but he's scared of the dark and is constantly freaking out the entire episode. In an extreme juxtaposition, you have Mikasa, who never gets scared once and shows very little emotion throughout all of these events, and that's probably because she realizes that everything going on is completely faked and cooked up by the upperclassmen. The trials Eren and his friends are going to have to endure will include a Mona Lisa, which has the face of a Titan, which actually talks back to people. We have this creepy little ghost girl who appears in mirrors. There's a haunted bathroom. There's a never-ending staircase that Bertholdt and Reiner continuously walk on, which is definitely one of the funniest scenes of the episode. There's also a ghostly version of Beethoven, which is very definitely Olowo, and I can't believe they don't even realize that, especially when he bites down on his tongue, but that actually ends up making him scarier, because now he's got blood all over his face. You have the ever-popular Levi, who is the headless dribbling ghost. He's this headless basketball player who's using his head as a basketball and continuously dribbling it. Two of my favorites, however, were these two guys who were dressed up as the Colossal Titan and Eren's Titan transformation, respectively. It looked like some pretty cool cosplay, and in the dark, it looked pretty damn creepy. And one of the funniest threads of the episode, of course, is still the relationship between Ymir and Krista, because Ymir is just completely obsessed with Krista, and they eventually get separated in this episode, where Krista meets this mysterious girl in white, who actually turns out to be a real ghost in this episode, by the way. Basically the Large Marge of Attack on Titan Junior High. It's for all the Pee-wee fans out there. And just Krista's reactions in this episode are so damn funny. Basically, that's the funniest part of the episode for me, because every single time the characters get freaked out, they have these expressions which are drawn to make them look like their actual anime and manga counterparts. They're like super realistic, and it does clash with the series, but it's really funny. It just makes for some great scenes, especially when you see them all bundled together and screaming, and then you have Mikasa in the group who still has her regular junior high design. It makes for some great comedy in this episode. There are also some genuine pop-out moments which are kind of creepy, especially that mirror girl who popped out right in front of Eren. That actually made me jump out of my chair a little bit. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Attack on Titan Junior High? This was a kooky, haunted house kind of episode. This was a very slapsticky, fun episode, though. Like I said, this was probably my favorite one thus far. I loved all of the visual and animation cues from this episode, especially the scene of Reiner and Bertholdt as they were going up the stairs and even looking up the shaft of the stairs. It looked really interesting, and there was also just a great use of the character expressions in this episode. Probably the best that I've seen from the series, whether it be them just getting completely freaked out with the super detailed faces, or the scene where Erwin Smith delivers his most famous line where he's real serious about them getting ready to go off into the mission, or just Krista's faces in general, where she's crying and it just looks so freaking adorable. This was definitely an episode that really played to the strengths of Attack on Titan Junior High, and if you're a fan of AOT, check this episode out. It is really damned funny. So I really liked this one right here. I think the animation cues were good. I think all the funny moments really hit it home. I just wish they would have aired this one during Halloween. It would have been absolutely perfect. But it still hits all the right marks. It ends up being a really funny episode, and I'm still surprised. I was ready to hate this series from like the beginning, but every episode just continues to grow on me a little bit. It does help that I am a fan of Attack on Titan, but still, I think it speaks to the comedy. It really is just good old classic slapstick. And so this is my favorite episode of Attack on Titan. Titan Junior High. I really have no complaints with it, and when I have nothing to complain about, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I loved the comedy in this episode, and I think Attack on Titan fans are really going to love it, especially all of the callbacks. Just a fantastic episode right here, which has a lot of laughs. Check it out, AOT fans. But I would love to hear from you guys. Did you watch this week's episode of Attack on Titan Junior High? Did you have a favorite scene, a favorite character? Did you not like this episode? What do you want to see from the rest of this comedy spin-off of Attack on Titan? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be able to see all of our latest anime and manga reviews and our weekly podcast show, and you guys can also follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!